Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make these beautiful slate coasters. They have these little squishies on the back to stop them scratching your surfaces, and they are made using etching cream, the same sort of thing that we have done with glasses and other stuff before in the past, but this is on a slate coaster. They are from Poundland, and they come like this in a pack of 2. They're £1 for 2, and I think these are really good value, and by using the etching cream on them it really makes them pop, and they're going to make a great addition to our summertime decor. So let's get straight into how we do it. Okay, so we are here in Design Space, and this coaster measures 10 centimetres square. However, realistically, the usable space is only going to be around 7 to maybe 8 centimetres square. So what I'm going to do first of all is start off by just getting a square on the screen, and I'm going to make it the full size of the coaster. And the reason for that is so that I have got enough usable extra vinyl around the side of my design so that it's going to protect the slate underneath. So I've got my square on the screen, and I'm just going to go up the top here and unlock the padlock. Then I'm going to change my size to 10 by 10 and just hit OK, and then that is the full size of the slate just there. Then I'm just going to move that over to one side whilst I get another square, and then this one I'm going to make white. And I will now change the size of this one to 7 centimetres because I think 7 is a good size for this. Now I'm going to bring back my other square and just pop it on the top, and I'm going to select all by just dragging and clicking, and then I will go up to align, and I'm going to go down to centre just there, and then that will put my inner box inside my outer one. So let's just go over to images and grab the image that I'm going to use. I saw it yesterday, so I'm just going to click on browse and scroll through a little bit. This is the one I like with the sun. It's a bit of a complicated design, so it's going to be interesting to see if it works. If you would like to use the same design that I have used for this coaster, you can go on to Design Space and into Images, find the design either by scrolling through, or if you don't want to scroll through, I'm going to show you the actual image number. So you need to use hashtag M274FAA59, and I'm going to copy that actually, and I'll show you as well that you can search like this. So you can have, if you've got the number, I'm going to put it up on the screen for you so you'll see that. You can always jot it down, and then you can just put it into your search box and it will bring it up for you. And then also another handy thing, because obviously I quite like this design, so you can click on the little eye just there, and then you can see it comes up with view image sets, and if you click on view image sets, it's going to bring up all of the other images that are similar to that one, and you can see that there are some in this sort of series. So we've got the one with the little beehive, and then we have a thunder and lightning cloud, which is fun. There are others like the little daisy, there's a watermelon, and the sun that we've used. So that is how to find that actual image if you want to recreate the exact project that I'm making today. So let's make that 7 centimetres. We might not actually even need that inner square if we have got this 7 by 7. Okay, that's awesome. So we can get rid of that one. We don't actually need it, which is good. Let's make our design white so we can see how it shows up. Okay. So what we need to do now is select again, and then align and center. So that is how our design will look. We could probably make it a little bit bigger. Let's be crazy and make it a little bit bigger. So let's just select it. I'm going to drag it out, and then I'll center it again. that's kind of cool. And that one is just under 8 centimetres, so that's going to be really pushing the boundaries on the coaster, but I reckon it's going to be good. So let's just check that I have sent that, but I'm just going to check again. Okay, so what we need to do now again is select all. You can either click on the select all or you can drag. What you're going to want to do next is go down to slice, click on slice. Okay, and we've now got our slice results appeared on the right hand side in the layers menu, so we can get rid of this one. Let's get rid of that, and we can pull this one, and we don't want that one anymore, so we get rid of that one, and then this is going to be our stencil. So what we need to do now is go over to the Cricut that we're using today, which is the Maker with the fine point blade, and I'm going to show you how to set up your mat with your stencil vinyl ready to cut. So this is a pretty easy setup with your stencil vinyl. This is stencil vinyl that came with a kit from MDP Supplies. It comes with the Etchall cream. You get a little squeegee. This is a soft pliable squeegee, which is brilliant for all this sort of stuff. If you're applying your stencil vinyl onto a rounded surface, you will need one of these. Your Cricut scraper won't be any good for it because it's too rigid, so you'll definitely need a pliable squeegee. And then I've got my stencil vinyl, which also comes with it. I think it comes with 10 sheets. This kit is £20 plus VAT. They do sell the Etchall cream on its own in various different sizes. This is the smallest one. I have had this for over 12 months and I haven't used hardly any of it because it goes so far, and I've done quite a lot of etching projects with it. So first of all, we're going to set up our mat. I'm just using a standard grip mat today with this stencil vinyl. I'm going to cut it out from one sheet here. Stencil vinyl varies slightly from regular vinyl in the fact that it is not as stretchy, so it's easier to work with when you're trying to get it really flat onto a surface. I have used permanent vinyl before to make stencils for etching, and I've got a couple of videos that I've used that in, and you'll see when I'm doing it, it does stretch slightly, so I would always recommend using a specific stencil vinyl if you can get it. So let's just take the protective cover off the mat, pop that to one side, and I will just pop the whole sheet down. I think I don't really need to cut it out, so I'm just going to line that up with the lines on the mat, just like so. Just going to use my brayer to flatten that out. Okay, and that is ready now to cut. Alright, so before we cut we need to choose our settings, so let's go up to Make It. And you can see the design on the screen there now. We don't need to change the material size or anything like that, it's pretty standard today. Let's just click on Continue and it will find the machine. I've already got it all turned on and everything. So we're using a Maker today, fine point blade, nothing fancy. Just go up to Browse All Materials and type in Stencil and search. And then you'll see you've got 3 different options. So I am using Stencil Vinyl here. The Stencil Vinyl is quite a generic setting. You can get a Cricut one, but I have not got the Cricut one, so I'm just using the regular MDP one. Click on Done, and that is ready to go. So now we just need to pop the mat into the machine and start the cut. Okay, so as you can see now, the flashing insert mat button is already ready for us. So what we need to do is just line up our mat with the guides on the side of the machine just here. Again, you don't need to bother to move these star wheels. You can leave them where they are, they won't damage the vinyl. So just press your double-ended arrow to get your machine to take your mat in. Okay, and then once we're ready to go, the flashing C will start and we can just hit that button and we're off. Okay, so that means that the machine has finished. Now I would recommend that you always just double check that your machine has cut properly. So the best way to do this is just to very carefully get your weeding tool and just lift the corner of your design, and that has definitely cut really well. So now we can just press the double-ended arrow again to eject the mat. Now it's time to weed. Alright, so let's start weeding. I'm using today this pin pen weeding tool. This one is from Amazon. I don't know whether you can actually see the point on it. Here you go. Can you see the point on that? It's really fine. To be honest, it's a bit of a practice thing using it because it's quite difficult to master, but it makes life easier because all the tiny bits of vinyl really stick well with it. So I'm just going to weed all of this. I won't bore you with it on camera. When I come back, it will be done. Okay, so the weeding is all done now. So what we need to do is take it off the mat and apply the transfer tape to it, because what we need to do now is get it on to our slate. So let's just flip this mat over and peel back the mat. There we go. One thing I don't like about the vinyl that I'm using is the fact that it is a sheet and it really rolls all the time. Even when you flip the mat back and try to keep it flat, it still rolls and distorts, and I'm not a big fan of that happening. This is a piece of tape, low tack contour paper. It's the one I use all the time. You guys have probably seen it. I have a video on it as well. I'll link that for you above. So I'm just going to pop my design down on this. This piece of transfer paper has been used a few times because I've used it for balloons. So I'm going to just grab my knife and cut out the design. This will make it easier when I'm applying it to the slate because it's quite difficult to see. Okay, so let's just grab the squeegee and give it a good press down. Flip it over and do the same again. Now that I've got it the other way around, you'll be able to see where the design is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually cut out around the blue part so that it's going to be right on the edge. And the reason for this is so that I can make sure that it's centered accurately. So let's just get rid of that. That's why I always tend to use a box as a template for the item that I'm using. And I don't know whether you know, but Cricut Design Space does have other templates for other things. So if you're doing a t-shirt or a hoodie or something, you can see a template on your screen and you'll be able to do that, but I'll show you that in a future video. So there is our design all ready to be applied. So let's just flip it over again and peel back the backing paper. There's a few little bits on this design. So this little bit of the flower and the swirl are all loose, so we need to make sure that we don't lose any of those when we are peeling back. So just go slowly. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I quite like to pop it back onto the cutting mat because then it will hold down the design, so I've got two hands free then if bits do start to lift. There we go, there's one that's lifting. Just go slowly, take your time, there's no rush to do this part. Okay. Just keep pressing as you go, just to make sure that it's all stuck to your transfer paper. Of course you can use the regular plastic see-through transfer tape if you've got that on hand. The only thing I would say with that is that the slate is quite rough, so when you're attaching it to your actual slate, you might find it difficult to remove from your design. There we go, nice and slow. Let's bring in our slate. Okay, so here's our slate. I don't think it really matters which way around this goes. So what we need to do is match up the edges exactly with the Slate. Don't press it down yet, because we just want to turn it over and just double check. I'm not pressing anything down so it's not stuck. So I'm quite happy that that is straight. Okay, so that is on. I'm just going to press it down with my fingers first of all, and I'm going to grab my squeegee and I'm going to go straight across. And it's important that we get that as smooth as we can. Because of the rough surface of the slate, you may get some bleeding because it's impossible to get all of the vinyl stuck down to cover up those tiny little gaps that you might get because of the formation of the slate. But one thing that you can do is sand your slate if you want to. That will smooth out your surface of your slate if you wanted to do that. I haven't sanded this one just purely so that we can see what it comes out like. So now let's peel back the transfer paper as flat as you can, literally fold it over. So I've just got that and folded it really flat, and use your fingers and press down while you're doing it and just roll your fingers back down your design. Okay, there we go. So now let's just press everything down as best as we can, and there we go. Now, because we've obviously got the line around the edge where the design was, what I would like to do is I'm going to get some masking tape and I'm going to mask over up to my design almost, just to protect that. So let's do that now. This is just Poundland masking tape. It's the one I've used previously, so just going to tear a little bit off and go right up to my design and make sure that I'm not touching my edges. Nope. Okay. Same again here. This again, this is just a protective measure. I seem to be getting through a lot of masking tape recently. Okay, so this is the part of our design that we're going to put our etching cream on. So let's do that next. I like to use a wooden application stick, and these are also available on MDP supplies. You can use these. They're basically like a tongue depressor, that what you get in the doctors. They're not very expensive, but I also get the kids to save their lollipop sticks, and I use those sometimes as well. And the reason that I use these is because they're disposable. They are kind of environmentally friendly because they're wooden, and I don't have to clean them afterwards. So I have just got my backing paper from my vinyl, and this is what I'm going to use when I've got the etching cream on here. I'll just pop this on my desk and lay the little piece of wood down on it, just so that I don't get etching cream on anything. It's really important to take precautions when you're using etching cream. It is an acid, it will burn your skin and it will be very painful. So I just use a pair of marigold gloves, and I also use some eye protection as well. So I'm just going to pop those on now, just to make sure I am nice and safe. Nobody wants their skin to be burnt. Okay, so here is my etching cream. It's Etchall cream. It's reusable, so we can pop it all back into the tub when we are ready. So we're just going to grab the little wooden stick and get some on our stick like this, and just pop it down. I'm just going to turn my light around a little bit so I can see. Hopefully it won't give too much glare. That's okay. Right, so we want to just pop a load of this onto here, spread it out, try and get a nice even coat. And if you've got any air bubbles in it, you can see those appearing sometimes. Just try to get rid of them with your stick, or you can use a brush if you want to. It is real personal preference. Just pop it on there. Some people say that you need to keep the etching cream moving for the whole time that it is on your material, but I tend to not do that. So I'm just gonna, once I've put it on, I'll set my timer for 15 minutes. Let's just make sure there's no air bubbles. Looks pretty good. Okay, so as I said, I'm just going to scrape that off as much as I can on the side of the tub, and I'm just going to pop it down on my paper there. You can't actually see it's out of frame, but there you go. I'm just going to pop it down on my paper just there. So let's set the timer. Hey Google, set a timer for 15 minutes.
Alright, 15 minutes, and that's starting now.
Okay, so in 15 minutes I'll be back and show you the next piece of the puzzle. The alarm has gone off now, and it's time to remove the etching cream from our slate. So let's just get our protective gear back on. The rubber gloves are on, so are the goggles, and all I'm going to do now is scrape off all of the etching cream that I can and pop it back in the tub. So let's just carefully scrape off as much as we can. It's been on for 15 minutes, so it should have worked nicely. This can take a while to do. We want to save as much of the cream as we can because it's pretty expensive stuff. And we can obviously reuse it. Get off as much as we can. And when I've finished, I like to just go around the edge of my tub with a tissue and just clean that off and make sure that there's nothing left in the screw top. If you can hear airplanes taking off, it's because I live right by an airport, like literally 2 miles away from Birmingham Airport. So now that planes are going to sunny places again, we can hear them all the time. Sometimes the camera picks it up. Okay, so we've got as much of that off as we can. Now what you need to do is go to somewhere with cold running water and wash off as much of this now as you can. I'm just going to clean the edge of my tub with a tissue here because I don't want any of this to go into the lid. So I'm just going to run it around the edge. Just going to keep my rubber gloves on as well while I'm doing that. And then I'll just fold that up and pop that straight into the bin. Right, so let's pop the lid back on that so it's nice and safe. Let's go to the bathroom and clean all this off. So first we're just going to get the cold tap running. And then I'm just going to get this and put it straight underneath. And I'll use my rubber gloved hand to just wash it all off. Get as much of it off as you can. One thing that I have noticed with the slate, you will need to let it dry before you can really see the effect of it. On a glass it works virtually straight away and you can really see it because you can see through the glass. But with this it's not the same, so it doesn't look any different at the moment. So what we're going to do now is just give it a little dry off. As we've got rid of all the etching cream, almost all of it, missed a bit there. As we've gotten rid of all the etching cream, we can just use a towel just to dry it off. Now that we've got the etching cream all washed off, we can take off our PPE, so we can remove our rubber gloves and our goggles and put those to one side. Now we can remove the stencil and the masking tape, so let's just peel that back. You may well need to use a tool if your stencil doesn't easily peel back. As I said before, you might not notice the change in the colour of the slate straight away, and that's because it's a bit wet, but with this now I can see it's drying and it looks quite pale in these areas compared to the other parts of the slate. Okay, so you might need to get something to lift the corner. Okay, so I'm just going to use my pointy tweezers just to get under there. Be careful with the slate not to scratch it, because you will notice that if you are not careful. Okay, so let's just pull it all back. We'll probably need to use the... Oh, it looks pretty good. I'm really pleased with it. I'm happy with the way it's turned out. I love the fact that we haven't needed to do any kind of sanding or anything like that, because the edges are really smooth still. They're not jagged at all. You can see really up close that they look good. Quite pleased with how they have turned out. I'm definitely going to be making some more of these and gifting them to friends and family for different things. I might even make some Christmassy ones coming up to Christmas. So there you have it. I hope you have found this video to be useful and you have enjoyed watching. If you have, I'd love to see you for the next one. Please subscribe, drop me a like and comment down below if you've got any questions, and I will see you on the next one. Take care, bye.